The real-time studio was already tense before the cameras turned on. Not chaotic, not loud, just tense in the way that happens when everyone in the room knows something might go wrong, and no one's sure who will pull the trigger. Pam Bondi was scheduled to appear on the panel. It had been pitched as a discussion about criminal justice reform and her experience as Florida's Attorney General. But that was just the version the public saw. Behind the scenes, there were emails, conditions, and warnings. Pam Bondi had only agreed to appear if the conversation stayed substantive. That meant no personal attacks, no rehashing old controversies, and no attempts to make her a punchline for Bill's audience. Bill Maher's producers had agreed, or at least they said they had. But just minutes before they walked onto the set, Bill told his writers, "Let's see if the Barbie can actually think." And someone on Pam's team overheard it. When she finally stepped onto the stage, the applause was loud and automatic. People were clapping for the show, not knowing what was coming. Pam took her seat confidently, her expression pleasant but guarded. Bill was already smirking, that trademark expression that meant someone was about to be his target. He dove right in. Bill said, "So, Pam Bondi, former Attorney General of Florida, or as I like to call it, Trump's favorite blonde, who isn't his daughter." The audience laughed. Pam's smile tightened. She said coolly, "Nice to meet you too, Bill. I see we're starting with the intellectual discourse you're famous for." Bill's smirk widened. "Oh, she's got claws. Good. Let's talk about your record. You took money from Trump and then decided not to prosecute Trump University. Coincidence?" Pam's eyes flashed. She said, "That's been thoroughly investigated and debunked. But I understand facts aren't as funny as accusations on your show." The other panelist, a liberal commentator, jumped in. "But you have to admit, the optics were terrible." Pam turned to him. "The optics of a comedian and a blogger questioning the ethics of someone who actually prosecuted criminals? Yes, those optics are terrible." Bill laughed, but it was defensive. "See, this is what I mean. You Trump people can never admit wrongdoing." "You Trump people?" Pam interrupted. "I'm a former Attorney General. I have a name, a record, and a career that extends far beyond any political association. But you can't see that, can you? To you, I'm just a blonde Republican to mock for your audience's amusement." The atmosphere shifted. This wasn't going according to Bill's plan. He pressed harder. "Come on, you can't play the victim. You chose to align yourself with." "I chose to serve the people of Florida." Pam cut him off. "I prosecuted pill mills, fought human trafficking, and took on scam artists. What have you done besides get high and make jokes about people who actually work for a living?" The audience reaction was mixed. Some laughed nervously. Others sat in uncomfortable silence. Bill's tone turned nastier. "At least I didn't sell my soul too." That's when Pam stood up. Not dramatically, just decisively. She said, "Sell my soul? I've spent my career protecting victims. You've spent yours creating them for entertainment. Who really sold their soul here?" Bill stood too, his famous composure cracking. "If you can't handle criticism." "This isn't criticism," Pam said, her voice rising. "This is character assassination disguised as comedy. It's what weak men do when they're threatened by strong women." Now, before we witness what happened next in this explosive confrontation, I need to tell you something. What you're about to see is exactly why mainstream media doesn't want you to know these stories exist. They bury them, edit them, pretend they never happened. But we're here, exposing the truth they desperately want hidden. If you believe in real, unfiltered truth, if you're tired of being fed sanitized versions of events, then hit that subscribe button right now. Don't wait until the end, because what's coming next will blow your mind. Subscribe now, and join the thousands who refuse to be lied to anymore. Trust me, after you see what Pam does next, you'll understand why they tried so hard to make this disappear. The other panelist tried to interject. "Nobody's threatened by." Pam whirled on him. "Really? Then why did Bill call me Barbie before I came out here? Why does every question focus on my appearance or my associations rather than my accomplishments? You're so threatened by a successful conservative woman that you have to reduce me to a stereotype." Bill's face reddened. "I don't have to take this from." "From what, Bill?" Pam interrupted. "From a woman who won't laugh at your jokes? From someone who actually has a law degree instead of a bond collection? Finish the sentence. Show everyone who you really are." She turned to the audience. "This is what passes for political discourse now. A bitter old comedian who thinks misogyny is hilarious if you aim it at Republican women. And you all laugh because it's easier than thinking. Someone in the audience started clapping. Then another. Not everyone, but enough to be heard. Bill was losing control of his own show. He said, "You know what? If you don't like the format." "I don't like the fraud," Pam shot back. "You pretend to be an intellectual when you're just a bully with a platform. You think making fun of women's appearances is political commentary. You're not edgy, Bill. You're just sad." Bill's voice turned vicious. "Get off my stage." Pam laughed. "Your stage? This is HBO's stage. And they should be embarrassed that this is what they're paying for. An old man making sexist jokes and calling it progressivism." She headed for the exit, then turned back. "You know what's really pathetic? You think you're a rebel, but you only attack people you think won't fight back." "Well, surprise, Bill. Some of us bite back." Bill shouted after her, "Security! Get her out." Pam stopped at the exit for one final shot. "Security? To remove a woman who won't play along with your misogyny? That's perfect. That's exactly who you are. A man who calls security when a woman stands up to him." She looked directly at the camera. "To every woman watching, never let men like him make you feel small. Never let them reduce you to your appearance. Never let them dismiss your accomplishments. You're more than their punchlines." She left to significant applause from the audience. Bill stood there, visibly shaken, trying to recover. What happened next would become the most controversial moment in real-time history. After Pam's exit, the studio was in disarray. Bill stood at his panel desk, his usual smugness replaced by genuine anger. The audience was divided, some applauding Pam's exit, others unsure what they'd just witnessed, many recording on their phones. Bill tried to regain control with humor. "Well, I guess someone's off her meds." He was immediately challenged by the audience. "She was right," a woman shouted. "You were sexist," another called out. "Apologize," multiple voices demanded. Bill's mask dropped completely. "Oh, come on. If she can't take a joke." A woman in the front row stood up. She said, "That wasn't a joke. That was harassment. You called her Barbie, made cracks about her appearance, and then called security when she defended herself. That's not comedy. That's just cruel." More audience members joined in. "You do this to every conservative woman. This is why people hate your show. You proved her point perfectly." The other panelists tried to help. "I think everyone needs to calm down." "Don't tell us to calm down," someone shouted back. "We just watched a woman get attacked for her appearance in politics, then kicked out for defending herself." Bill was genuinely rattled. He said, "This is my show." "Not anymore," someone yelled as they walked out. "I'm done watching a sexist disguise his issues with women as political commentary." More people started leaving. The HBO audience, usually firmly in Bill's corner, was abandoning him. Meanwhile, in the parking lot, Pam was surrounded by real-time staff members, particularly women. A female producer approached her. "Ms. Bondi, I'm so sorry. He's worse during commercial breaks. The things he says about conservative women. You were right to call him out." A young writer added, "I've been trying to get him to stop the appearance-based jokes for years. He thinks it's funny. It's just gross." Pam looked at them with understanding. She said, "You don't have to work for people who don't respect you. There are better places." Back in the studio, Bill tried to continue the show, but it was a disaster. His jokes fell flat. The remaining audience was hostile. The energy was completely broken. During the next commercial, more people left. By the final segment, a third of the seats were empty. Within minutes, hashtag Pam Bondi Destroys Mailer was trending worldwide. Pam posted a video from her car, just got kicked off real time for refusing to be Bill Maher's punching bag. "To all the women he's mocked over the years, conservative, liberal, whoever, you deserve better. We all do." The video got 30 million views overnight. Bill tried to address it in his final segment, calling Pam hysterical and unable to take criticism. That made it catastrophically worse. Female celebrities across the political spectrum started speaking out. Megyn Kelly tweeted, "I've been on real time. Bill made 3 jokes about my appearance before one about my work. Pam Bondi just said what we all think. He's a misogynist hiding behind comedy." Even liberal women chimed in. Chelsea Handler posted, "I'm no fan of Pam Bondi's politics, but Bill calling security on a woman for talking back? That's some serious small d*** K energy." Within 48 hours, Real Time lost 6 sponsors. Major companies didn't want to be associated with what many were calling sexist comedy. HBO released a weak statement about passionate discourse that satisfied no one. But the real damage came from inside. Real-time staff members started speaking anonymously. Bill regularly rates female guests on their appearance. He specifically books attractive conservative women to mock. There's a whole writer's room culture of sexualizing female guests. What Pam did was overdue. She exposed the whole toxic environment. Former female guests started sharing their experiences. And Coulter, despite her past appearances, wrote, "Every time I went on Real Time, Bill made jokes about my body. I laughed along because I thought I had to. Pam showed us we don't." Tommy Lahren posted, 3 appearance jokes, 2 blonde jokes, 1 intelligence joke. That was my real-time experience. Pam Bondi is my hero for calling it out. Within a week, women's groups were calling for HBO to address the systemic sexism on Real Time. Bill's ratings dropped 35% in 3 weeks. His core audience, educated liberal men, were uncomfortable with the exposed misogyny. Desperate, Bill devoted a segment to defending himself, saying he was an equal opportunity offender and that Pam couldn't handle the heat. That backfired spectacularly. The clips of him calling her Barbie and then calling security went viral again. 3 months later, rumors swirled about Real Time's future. HBO denied cancellation talks, but the format underwent major changes. The appearance-based jokes stopped. The sexist commentary disappeared, but it was too late. The damage was done. In an interview 6 months later, Pam reflected on that night. "I didn't go there to make a scene. I went to discuss criminal justice reform. But when a man old enough to be my father reduces me to a blonde stereotype for laughs, what choice did I have? Submit or stand up?" I stood up. When asked if she'd ever return, she said, "Why would I give him another chance to disrespect me? There are plenty of platforms that can discuss politics without discussing my hair." Bill never directly addressed the incident again, but insiders said he was obsessed with it, constantly bringing it up in production meetings. A year later, at a women-in-law conference, Pam received a standing ovation when she walked on stage. The moderator said, "The woman who showed us we don't have to smile through sexism disguised as satire." Pam Bondi didn't just get kicked off Real Time that night. She kicked down the door that had kept women smiling through harassment, laughing at their own degradation, accepting misogyny if it came with a punchline. She showed that refusing to be the butt of the joke wasn't being too sensitive. It was being sensitive enough to your own worth. And in doing so, she gave millions of women permission to stop laughing along with men who confused cruelty with comedy. The revolution wasn't Republican or Democrat. It was women saying, "We're not your punchlines anymore," and meaning it. Bill Maher's show survived, but something fundamental had broken. The assumption that women would accept any treatment for access, that they would laugh along with their own humiliation, that they would choose platform over principle. Pam Bondi proved them wrong. And in getting kicked off that stage, she stood up for every woman who'd ever been reduced to her appearance, dismissed for her beliefs, or told to smile through disrespect. Sometimes the most powerful exit is the one where you leave with your dignity intact, even if, especially if, security has to escort you out.